Hi there. Welcome back to the Streams of Emotions. My name is Moses. You can call me Mo for short, and I'm really glad you are here with me again. Last time, we talked about the influence of ignored emotions. We mentioned that what you ignore doesn't disappear, it finds a way through, usually in the moments and places you least wanted it to be. That was episode 5, and today we're looking at episode 6. We are going to look at how emotions play in our everyday relationships. Maybe with your partner, with your children, with your kids, with your friends, or what have you. It's very important to look at this because in all these spaces, emotions are either building walls or they are building bridges. And that is what we want to look at today. Let me give you an overview of something that might have happened to you or may happen to you, or it might not even happen to you at all. So think about this. Let's say your partner made a comment that felt a bit rude. You decided to be quiet instead of saying how it made you feel. That is one instant. Another instant, a friend keeps canceling plans and you told yourself you are fine, but something inside of you make you feel less important. Three, maybe a mother, a father, or a friend, or someone you know just compares you with others. You don't like it, but you smile and you ignore. Let's consider these situations. Before then, I want you to know that when these things happen, it may be small, it may feel big. However, they all build within us some emotions. It may be irritation, it may be hurt, it may be embarrassment, it may be disappointment, it may be fear of being rejected or not being enough. And the more you ignore such feelings or you allow them to slide, the more you create a distance between you and your loved ones, usually in ways that you even don't notice. That is why it's important to have what we call emotional intelligence. It may seem to be a fancy term, but let me break it down to our bearers' understanding. Emotional intelligence is all about noticing what you feel, understanding where that feeling is coming from, handling it in a way that it doesn't damage you or the people around you. And the last one is being able to sense what others might be feeling. So, this is emotional intelligence. And research says that people who have emotional intelligence or EQ, high EQ, are able to build stable and sustainable relationships, marriages, friendship, and long term partnership. It doesn't mean they will not have challenges, but because of these four things, they are able to help them go through challenges successfully. So when you're having high EQ or emotional intelligence, it's not that you are being soft or too emotional, but it's the fact that you have enough self-awareness to tell yourself that this is what is going on inside of me. And so this is what I think when I do, it will help the situation instead of waiting for it to explode or disappear into silence. So let's look at how this turns out in our everyday situation. Practically, let's say after you come home after a long day, your mind is tired, your body is tensed, and you want a quiet place to just have some time to relax, or so to say, a space to breathe. And as soon as you walk in, your partner or your children or someone starts talking about their own situation, things that are worrying them, things that are disturbing them, and that will make you emotionally overloaded. These are two things that may happen. You may choose to build a wall, which turns out in this way. You snap at the person and you end up making general statements like, can't I walk in this door without a problem for once? Or you may choose to ignore the person and find a place just to sit by yourself without telling the person anything. Or you just grab your phone, maybe listening, but you disappear into social media, not really concerned about the matter. This is when you are building walls. Let's look at the twist. When you are building a bridge, you let a person know, I care about what you are feeling, but I'm really drained. Can I have about 10 to 20 minutes to reset? Then I will want to hear you properly. Okay? That in itself helps. You let a person, you admit what you are going through, and you let the person know that you definitely come back to him or her. Or you can say that I'm not ignoring you. I'm just emotionally down right now. Can we talk later? Or can I just have a bit of time for myself? I'll get back to you later. This in itself, they are all helping to build a bridge between you and the person involved. So let's look at the other scenario. Let's say that a friend keep on canceling appointment or schedule. When they say they'll call, they don't call. When they say they'll get back to you, they don't. And you say they are busy, it's okay, but part of you feel a bit pushed aside. So you can let a person know. I know life is full of many things, but when you keep on canceling plans, when you don't attend to me as you say, it makes me feel less important. I just want to be honest with you. I care about our friendship. When you do this, you build a bridge that will connect, will open the two up for honest conversation, will bring realization that will help you to connect well. However, some of the simplest ways we build walls are you stop inviting the person, you stop sharing personal things with the person, you smile when you see them or when you even see their WhatsApp status and all those things. But the closeness is gone and you never talk about it. You see, that is when walls are being built. Let me present to you a story that happened years ago, just a brief part of the story, and let's see how best we can learn from this story. Nelson Mandela was a person as once a South African president. He was in prison for 27 years for fighting against apartheid. So when he came out of prison, I mean, before he went to prison, he was full of bitterness and revenge and all those things. But when he came out of prison, he made this statement. He said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that will lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I would still be in prison. I want to ask you, what should you or must you leave behind so that you are still not in prison to it? What is it? What bitterness are you holding on so much that is still keeping you in prison? Who have you allowed to keep unhealthy space in your mind and in your heart, even though the person might be physically far away from you? This is the reality of Nelson Mandela's statement, and this is what he did. We all need emotional freedom. It doesn't mean that the pain isn't real. No, it is. But we need to learn how to let go those pains so that it doesn't drive our lives from the background. Back to the discourse that I mentioned earlier when I started this. So, with your partner, if you felt that the person did something that you didn't like, you can let the person know that, oh, when you joked about me in front of others, I laughed, but inside I felt embarrassed. That in itself helps build a bridge. Or to the friend, you say that I miss how close we were. Lately, I see you often cancel appointments and schedule time with us. It makes me feel a bit pushed away. Can we get back to this friendship? I care about it. Or to the parent or to the friend who compares you with others. You can let a person know when you compare me to others, it hurts. It makes me feel like I'm not enough in your eyes. Yes, these are not perfect sentence. I'm not saying use this exact sentence, but this is just a guide. It's being emotionally honest. It may make you feel soft, it may make you feel vulnerable, but the reality is that you are giving yourself the permission to build connection, to build bridges with others instead of building walls. As we move through our day to day activities, we need to ask yourself, when you choose to shut down instead of speaking, are you building walls or you are building bridges? When you explode, instead of pausing, are you building walls or you are building bridges? When you smile on the outside but feel something very different in the inside and you refuse to address it, are you building walls? Are you building bridges? In all these moments, we are making a decision. The reality is that no one is perfect and no one can build 100% bridges at all times. No, it doesn't happen that way. But we should focus on who instead of focusing on what. I want to emphasize that who who is in the picture. Is that relationship important to you? Then do your possible best to build a bridge instead of building a wall, especially when it's your partner. Do your possible best to build a bridge instead of a wall. Why? Because these are people that you definitely need or you definitely be with for the rest of your life, why then would you want to build walls instead of going through that vulnerable stage of building a bridge? So that is all for today. And I want us to be honest with how we feel with others. It may make us feel sometimes weak, but do your best to build bridges. In our next episode, we'll talk about how emotional stress and physical health are more connected, mostly than how we think of. Until then, remember this: there is power in your emotions. Learn about them, listen to them, and use them productively instead of allowing them to manipulate you. Have a wonderful time.